What's good? What's good? It's your boy B Neil. We back in the building. Man, we got some more Kevin Samuels reaction for y'all today. It's gonna be like my second time trying to do this. The first time I deleted it on accident. The second time the audio was crazy. So third time's a charm, man. Let's get it.
Yeah, they're not gonna. You're saying
Most men are not going to tolerate it.
I disagree.
Oh,
No. Understand what I mean. There's only one way to keep score with what men do, by who they marry. All men will have sex with all of y'all. They'll tolerate all of you. They'll smash. But wife you? Hell no. Most men will be like, because what can a man do about a situation that's outside of his control? No, if you're already coming into it with, let's be honest, let's be real. Let's just have a real conversation. When you were little girls, okay, especially when you start to bloom and develop, what are the things you were told by adults about boys?
That they horny, that they fast, cover up.
To be careful.
Yeah, be careful around the little
Be careful.
boys that they were.
And be careful of older men because they'll
And then what were you taught boys and men are supposed to do?
cater to you,
Okay.
protect you. Be
So
interested in you.
men are either a utility or something to be feared. You only look at us in terms of our usefulness to you.
I feel like it's set up.
I feel
Society
like
has it set up to where it's like both of like people. They both feel entitled like that. Like
No, we don't.
Women
No, we don't. Men are told very clear what we're supposed to do for y'all. We're told very clear we're supposed to protect, provide, provide, peace, all these other things. And when I ask what are women supposed to do for men, this conversation shows y'all haven't put a lot of thought into who we are, what we want, or what you're even supposed to do for us. When I ask about a man, it comes back to what you want.
And we see it all the time as men, man. Anytime we try to talk about our preferences, it comes off as oppressive or who hurt you and all type of other stuff. And in all reality, there's whole genres dedicated to women and their ideals and their fantasies and what they want from men. And for the most part, the average man is going to see that. Maybe not be completely involved or engaged by y'all type of content, but it's going to be those notebooks or the Titanics that come around where men almost can't not watch it because it's so talked about. So and then when you go into like R&B and things like that, that's completely dedicated to the feminine principle or female aspects. In general, it caters to y'all emotions or and things like that. You can even sometimes say it panders to y'all emotions and things like that. And for men, we get a good understanding of what y'all like, and that's just the truth. But what's more often than not, it starts to seem like y'all have no idea what men nature is, what it takes to be a real man, the difference between a man and a boy, the reasons why a man will want a woman that can help take care of the household. A lot of times y'all just assume that it's for oppressive reasons, not that it's like that, or not for any type of like logical or sane reasons why a man may want that. And it clearly comes off, or men clearly see that y'all don't understand us when we have certain conversations, especially with the women. We want women that aren't combative, and we want women are submissive. It's like, well, oh, you just want a woman that you can run all over, quick to assume and have no fucking understanding of what we actually want. It's like, no, we battle with the world, we battle with society to get what we want, and our goals when we come home, that's the last thing we want to deal with, especially from the people that we care about. We don't want to have to deal with turmoil and stuff from the people that we care about outside in the world. Yeah, I can put on that helmet, I can put on that uniform and go fight, but when I come home, I don't like, that's the last thing I want to do is fight the people in my household or feel like we're always fighting. So like I said, a lot of times women have no idea why men even want submissive or women that can cook and take care of the household, because just maybe we want kids that's well nurtured.
That's the way it's been set up. And which is funny is because the very people that are being tailored to and catered to sound like you're oppressed. And the very people who are on the other side trying to figure out what's going on are the ones that Would you say that most women have empathy for men today?
No.
Would you want to raise a son and put him out in the world like that with women who thought, if women took a snapshot of the things you hear, not necessarily just at this table, but the snapshot of things you hear, would you?
I just wanted to stop on that empathy because that's a good point, man. As a man, I definitely feel that lack of empathy in the world. When it comes to your problems, I often I say this thing all the time. People ask how I'm doing, I be like, I can't complain. Common saying, but every once in a while you'll hear someone respond like, well, who could you complain to? And it normally comes from a man. But men have this idea that we really can't share our feelings with the world because as a man complaining to another man, it's like we don't want to put more pressure or something else on another man's plate that I should be able to handle. So we may ask for guidance, but a lot of times we can't vent and open up to a man because we know that they have their own problems that they're dealing with and they don't really want to, for the most part. Obviously, you got certain friends that you can lean on like that. But then when you kind of deal with women, it's not that women don't want to listen or women just hate us and shit like that all the time. I mean, we do have that out there. Don't get it twisted. But a lot of times when we try to voice our opinion on things that could be done better or things that may be done wrong, the women that get in their feelings and feel attacked. And once they feel attacked, the shame, insults, and need to be right because they feel like they're in the corner. But it's really the man just trying to express himself. And I mean, it's two people in this situation. Somebody, I just can't always talk about myself when we talk about problems inside the relationship. So when it comes to certain times when we want to bring up problems that the other person may be doing, they get offended and they take it personal, and which leads to a lack of empathy because you're not hearing me out. You're not thinking about how I may be feeling. You may not think about how I already thought about how this conversation is going to be difficult, and you just jumping around, hurting me and shaming me and all this other different shit. And it's coming from someone that you love. So now, a lot of times you often don't end up being heard. You often feel, often people feel like you're attacking them, and then they end up often shaming you. So it's like so many different things that can come about that. It just feels, and then when you think about that coming from the person you care about, more often than not, at least from a man being. It often leads to a man being disconnected from that relationship when it comes to like real conversation. And like I said, I think that's a common thing with men. We feel that empathy, whether it's like I said with our women or with other situations. Even with my job, one time I remember, or a few times, it's an open door policy. If you got anything you want to tell us, let us know. We're looking to change things around. We're trying to make a change. We've been doing bad. So we want to have this open dialogue. You start trying to talk to them and tell them things. They look at you like you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, like you're a complete idiot. They start feeling like you trying to take their job, all type of shit, man. And it's like, as a man, you just learn to be more quiet than not. And that's when you see the man in that he just want to be left alone in his rocking chair. Because for the most part, if you're not out fishing with his homeboys, you're not gonna really get him opening up because that's just, for so long he's seen that when he opened up, it's just not productive for him. But yeah, that lack of empathy is very real.
Do you want your son to be out there?
I would even extend it to your parents. When you're not doing something aligned to what your parents like, and men and women can feel this, they start to have conditional love and conditional provisions and protecting like they normally would. They don't, if you're not in school or you're not doing what they want, they magically just don't have enough to help you, or they magically always get upset and maybe even shame and insult you and things like that. And it's just a lack of empathy, and whether it's believing you, trusting you, or whatever it may be, or just letting you be who you want to be. But you often feel that even with your parents, it's like that empathy where whenever you try to express something or say, hey, could you do this, or I don't like this, they feel attacked, or they feel like, what the fuck are you even talking to me for? A lot of men feel that with women, but I think everyone can relate how our parents treat us like that. And for women, if you get that analogy, hopefully you will see how unattractive that was how much you hated that when your parents did that to you, and realize that's kind of what y'all do to your own men, and maybe y'all make the change. Because trust me, that we hated it when our parents did it, and you can kind of find a way to accept it because it's your parent and you know that your parents are going to be a parent. But when your spouse is doing it and it's someone you're supposed to be building with and having a certain level of trust and care, and they doing that, it comes off a little more disgusting. I can't even lie to you.
No.
Okay. All right. Now we're getting somewhere. Then how do we change that? I don't think anybody's a bad person. I just think that we don't have these conversations. We know how to have sex and we know how to argue. But when I often ask women, think about your brothers or your sons. What would you want them to feel out there? And you think about, how would you want him to be out there, and how do we change that? Because
he had a lot of good points inside of a short span, so I'm gonna try to break these down and then maybe let this video rock a little longer. But he brought up that I don't think y'all are intentionally bad, or I don't think y'all are bad people, and this sparked the tweet that I ended up seeing from this woman, and I had a little response to it. It said the idea that black women treat their men like shit generally annoys me, and I think that trope is out there not because black women ain't shit or don't like women, but I mean don't like men. But I think it's your priorities aren't in check. More often than not, y'all take yourselves first. More seriously, if y'all have kids, y'all definitely putting y'all kids before the man. If you have a job and career, you're most likely putting your job in front of that man. If you have certain friends and they want to go out and your man's like, I don't really find that attractive, can you stop doing that? A lot of times you're going to call him lame and insecure and then still choose to go out with your friends. So a lot of times you'll pick your friend over your man. So your man falls down the list to like third, fourth, fifth down the list. And that don't even include maybe your family and other things like that you may deem more important. And the reason what the bad failure in this is that you want a man to be able to protect and provide and essentially be the head of a household. But you're not taking care of him and making sure that he's good. And if the head of the household is not being taken care of and he's not good, everything else is going to feel that. The kids, you, the environment inside of the house, everything's going to be more tense, more stressful, more toxic if he's not doing his thing. So when you put the man first and you make sure he's good, usually the house and everything in it, which would be the kids, the environment, everything else, receives that trickle down effect, whether he's doing great or he's doing bad. So it's in your benefit to treat him and make sure he's good, because your kids will reap those rewards. You will reap those rewards. But more often than not, we don't get that. A lot of times what leads to us saying that you're not bad, but y'all not as great as y'all could be, is because your job drains you. So many other things drain you to where your husband or your boyfriend's getting the leftovers. And essentially, once you decide that you want a man to be a head of a household and you want him to lead, a job should never come between you and that man. Like, if it's getting too stressful and you bringing more to his plate, maybe you need to find another job. Because you still want him to be productive and you want to make sure he's good. There's no reason you should be bringing extra stress and problems to his table because you got to deal with shit at work. So a lot of times in the black community, we often deal with that. The independent woman, she wants to work and she's going to put her job and herself first. And to think about it, even if you had kids and you put the kids before the man, like, it's really kind of backwards, because without that man, the kids can't be as productive. So it would be more beneficial to the kids to put him first. And that's him getting a big piece of chicken. That's him making sure he's comfortable, making sure he's rested, making sure he's at peace. But like I said, a lot of times y'all priorities are not there. And when it talks about the role that y'all are needed as wives, one of the main roles that you need is to put y'all man first, because that essentially gives this man an assistant to a certain degree. You as a wife, you're way more useful than an assistant. So I don't want to really stick to that term, but you can think about how beneficial a assistant is to whoever she's assisting. Like without that person, their life starts to become a lot more difficult. So a woman's role and being able to put a man first is so helpful to a man. He can be even more productive, which you can receive better lifestyle points or brownie points or however the fuck you want to look at it. Your lifestyle just can get better. The greater assistant you are to a good man that's a hard worker, the easier it is on your life, the easier it is on your kids. So that's the biggest problem with modern women today. They're too busy being someone else's assistant, basically working for someone else.
What men in your life do you respect their opinion enough to change what you're doing?
My brothers and like my father.
Okay. That's a very small group.
Yeah. It's the immediate.
Anybody?
A lot of like influencers, like coaches, like the law of attraction, like teams and stuff. It depends.
Okay.
What was you said? What men?
When do you listen to in your actual day-to-day life that you respect enough to change what you're doing?
The men that I potentially want to date. I like to get feedback from guys that I'm talking to, thinking about dating or dating. And you know, sometimes I kind of self-evaluate because I like to know.
So somebody you were dating.
To put it simply, anyone who I feel has my best interest at heart.
Would you say these pools are very large?
No.
Okay, so if we just use you as a sample size, women don't tend to listen to men. All right, and if women, as a group, have little empathy for men, how does it change? If you're not listening to men in general, if you don't listen to very small groups of men, how do you guys change?
And I also add to just the listening to small groups of men. A lot of times, the men that you're listening to are men that like your brothers, fathers, maybe boyfriends, the men that care about you, that want to protect you, and things like that. So a lot of times they're not gonna give you the harsh truth of things. They're gonna coddle you. They're gonna sugarcoat things. So you're not gonna really get a real good sense of reality coming from those men. It's better to deal with men that don't have a vested interest in you, whether it's just something that you're watching as far as a podcast, or actually talking to men that just are not an option as far as dating, whether it may be an older man or maybe be whatever, maybe a Korean man that you may not be attracted to, so you know nothing's going to happen there. Or y'all both know something may not happen. I'm just giving examples, but it's more advantageous for a woman to try to get information from men that don't have a connection.
Do I want to change? I'm sorry, I'm being funny.
Nah, I mean it's a.
No, I've never.
Would you want the world to change for your son, or would you want him to be in this?
The world to change?
Would you want your son to be trying to find a mate in this environment?
Yeah, I can't change the world.
That's not the question. Would you want to send your son out? Would you want your son? You want the best interest for your son. You want to send your son. So you can't change the world. So you're just gonna send him to whatever school and whatever situation.
No, I'm not like. I mean, that's very circumstantial.
No, it's very deliberative. It's very deliberative.
Of course, I'm not just
So
gonna send a child out into the world
But
like
the world is this. So we'll send them to the best schools and the best churches and then this and that. But then when the very important thing of mating and relationships, I can't got nothing to do. The answer is y'all gotta have these conversations amongst yourselves to work out your issue with men. That's what it comes down to, because you don't even listen to us.
It's true.
But the bottom line is, here's the ugly reality. You need us. Whether you want to admit it or not, you need us.
I admit it. I woke recently. I woke up. I listen to the guys I date and what they say and what they want.
But it has to be. But it has to be.
soak it in.
It has to be more than just the guys you date, because many women will say, "I respect my man. I'll cater to my man. I'll submit to my man. I'll be cooperative with my man." But then you give the rest of the men in the public your ass to kiss. And it's the rest of the men who provide the security, the safety, the infrastructure, everything else that you need. The reason the world is as safe as it is today, and you can walk through Miami in heels and skirts and not worry about being booped over the head, because you got security. What do men in this country, in this world do that's good, that has nothing to do with women?
That has nothing to do with women.
I'll answer that question. What do men do good without the effect of women? Now, I to answer the question as clear as I can, I think he means like it can like women. What we do can affect women, but I don't think they're directly in the space of like being involved with the product or the creation of it or whatever. And when it comes to that, like I said, I think damn near everything you can say men do without the actual need for women. Whether it's infrastructure, whether it's like the dirty jobs, whether it's the AC in your damn house, um, building any type of infrastructure, building any type of education, building laws, science, all type of shit, um, directly reflected of men without really needing women in those spaces. Now, over time, women have been able to come into those spaces, but regardless, when it comes to a lot of the blue collar jobs, that's directly and only men doing it. A lot of the most dangerous jobs, they're only men doing it. So it's a lot of things that men do that don't not directly affect that women are not a part of, but it directly affect them for sure. But the reason I think he gets to this is because a lot of times where you get this conversation where men are useless, or they're average, or they really don't have much going for themselves, is because women don't really know the burden that men go through on the day-to-day basis. A lot of women are disconnected from the hard work that a real man really does, and I feel if they were connected to this, they understood some of the things that men have to do, they would be more attractive. They seen how dangerous certain jobs was or how physically taxing certain jobs was, I think they'll be naturally more attracted. Also, just having a healthy understanding of how valuable these men are to our society. A lot of times I think like with this disconnect, they don't know how valuable the average blue collar man is, because obviously society doesn't pay them well, but they're still valuable as fuck. That's similar to like a teacher. They don't get paid well, but everyone knows how valuable a teacher is because they literally touch the children. Pause. But outside of that, it's the same for blue collar men. Like you having AC in your house, you having plumbing, running water, electricity, clear roads, or not bumpy roads, having freeways, having all type of shit to be more efficient, having certain apps, having certain phones. Like we can thank men for these things. The progression of society, we can thank men for these things. And when you think about without these men, this society will collapse. Without these men, we have no society. These men want to go on strike, or these men just magically disappeared, this society would collapse in weeks or really in days. From the drivers and everything dealing with logistics, the pilots, so many different things, the shipping, the shippers, warehouse workers. Like, I think women can shit on these men because they don't understand how these men are the superheroes to this society. They can shit on the average man but not understand how valuable his individual job is to this society. If there were no men like him, a lot of things wouldn't be going as smoothly as it is today. And like I said, I feel like when women can get a better understanding for that, they'll have a more of a natural appeal to that man. But the fact that can shit on him is because they really don't know how valuable that man is. Because at this point, the only way women know how to judge men value is based on their money, not on character, not on a lot of different things. And I want to ask this question. Do women not really understand what a real man is or what it takes to be a real man? Because like I said, they obviously disconnected from us. Kevin said it. They don't understand us. They don't know us. They don't know what we want. They don't, a lot of this, like, we see it. So them not really knowing all of those things, wouldn't that like lead to them actually picking bad men? Like, the reason I ask that is because, like, for other men, like, we can see when a man don't have what it takes to complete a certain job. You'll see a dude in orientation, or you'll see a dude in his first training, like, oh, he not gonna make it. We ain't gotta talk to him. We ain't gotta meet. Like we can just see from his performance or how he walking, how he carrying himself that he not gonna make it, or how he even dressed. Like, oh, he's definitely not gonna make it. People can see it. As a man, we know what another real man looks like, and then we can see a pretender or a boy that's lazy or some shit like that. We can see a dude that's been raised in good environments versus a dude that's not been raised in environments that's gonna give him what it takes to get this job done. I don't think women have that in them, so they pick these men almost like lotteries or some shit like that. I don't know. I want to leave that question on the table because I think the fact that they don't understand, like I said, the burdens or the tasks required to be a real man, and like if they knew that, that would naturally make them attracted to us. Because it's like, when I see a man working hard, when I see some of these 50, 60-year-old dudes, I'm like, bro, like, that's a hard fucking working man. Like, if I was his age or if whatever, like, if it's a dude my age, I'm like, bro, I'll be his friend, or I'm going to try to compete with him and try to get to his level because that motherfucker work his ass off. Like, I can see that's an attractive quality to want to be around as far as a friend. And I feel like if women knew the actual qualities of what a real man is, and it would inherently make them attracted because it's like the consistency, the will to go attack something even though you may not want to do that shit every day. Like, those certain things are attractive qualities in people in general, but I don't think women have that concept kind of down and knowing that what really makes a real man, whether it's a lack of fathers or whatnot. But I don't know. I'm gonna leave that out there for y'all. If y'all, I would like y'all to answer that question for me. Do y'all think them being disconnected and understanding men lead to them also picking bad men?
Football.
I'm good to you in a minute. Country in this world do that's good that has nothing to do with women.
That has nothing to do with women.
Football.
I'm good to you in a minute.
I don't think. Okay. I feel like men have provided a lot of, because I love a manly man. I love the essence of a man. You know. So I feel like men have provided, but that doesn't have nothing to do with women. This sounds weird, but like infrastructure or like a lot of I feel like of how a lot of things get taken care of, men do that. And it doesn't mean with just women, I mean like with like every situation.
Okay, what else?
The thing with this question, even if a woman creates something, the people that's gonna most likely distribute, create it in mass, sometimes even market and sell it, stock it in stores, deliver it to houses are going to be men. So even if a woman has a great idea, a lot of times the men going to help push and help promote and sell that product and help that product be sold efficiently to make sales even more nice. So a lot of times men are always affecting your life, whether you know it or not, whether you're an independent woman or not. Men are around affecting your life, and I feel like if women understood that more, maybe the attraction for the average man would go up. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just swinging and missing.
It don't have nothing to do with women.
I feel like everything has to do with women. So it's new company. Build.
Huh?
Building structure. Building. Protecting.
Protecting who?
Well, the children.
Huh?
Protect children.
Yeah, women and children though.
Children. And also for the planet.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Building though, but that protecting, we don't protect each other. So what do we protect? So building, then what? So what else? Anything?
I think a lot of it does have to do with women. What do men do that's good that does not have to do with women? They lead, take initiative usually for a lot of things. just the man's nature. When they do this good, they do a lot of things that's good, but I think that...
So if there's a lot, name me three.
Three things, three good things.
Yeah, you said lead. Go ahead. Like, there are a lot. Pick three.
When you say good,
No. You already
good
you said a lot, so I shouldn't have to define.
men are great.
Okay, men are great. They do a lot of good things. What are three things?
Oh, three good. They
You said
they
football.
groom other men.
Okay, you said football.
Football. Also, what has to do with football, I think being a leader for other men, like guiding other younger men down a better path. Yeah.
They lead. But that still got to do with a woman because he's leading the other man to be good. And then
So I want to be clear. Infrastructure building. What'd you say?
I said
Leading and cutting hair in football. Now I want you to imagine all the millions of men who are going to hear this, and I want you to think about this is the considered opinion of 4 women who would consider themselves to be nice, reasonable, level-minded. This is as much as you thought about what is good about us as men. That has nothing to do.
And to add on to it too, it's like obviously the most attraction go to, like she said, football players, entertainers, the people that sit in the ivory towers and things like that. But when you really think about who's really more valuable to a society, who's really going to afford and drop, like depending on how great they perform is going to, how depends on how forward society gets to go. It's the middle class men, the blue collar men. And more often than not, a lot of times, like you'll get certain entertainers and stuff that actually is a detriment to society, and the things they push goes against productive societies and things like that. So when you really think about it, the attraction for all these celebrities and shit like that, yeah, I get the money lifestyle thing, but when you think about the character and all the other things that come with being a blue collar man, a lot of times that outweigh that money, because I mean you can't buy a lot of those things that the blue collar man naturally end up building through time and hard work.
With you, what I'm trying to show you is, for you ladies, for so many women to say this is a man's world, it's a patriarchy, and women is oppressed and this and that, but you look at us as utilities or something to be feared, and you look at us as what we can do for you, not what we are. Men have built, men created, men invent. There's philosophy. We've civilized the world in general. We're not hunter-gatherers anymore. We've eradicated disease. We've done a lot of different things. Even if you talk about that has nothing to do with women. And see, the thing is, you think more about yourself. That's okay. You think about it though. You say how great men are, and they do so much. And if a man would say, "Shorty, you the best, you the bomb, you do this, you that, you great, you wonderful. Tell me 3 things you like about me." Your baby hair. I mean, something is cutting hair.
No, you said 3 things you like about me. If I have a man in front of me,
my point is,
asking me to say 3 things that he does good, I can name that about that individual.
Exactly, but that individual, but man, see, and I want you to think about it. Think of how you think about the global image of men. But then if you asking men to put women on such a high pedestal, you're the mothers of this, you do that, you do this. We're supposed to almost deify you.
Yeah, there shouldn't be a rhetoric going around that saying men ain't shit, men are useless, men are like, what's the point of men? You literally would have nothing without us. Like, stop it.
But you don't think about men as what we're good at or what we do well, except what it has to do. You said that
it should be a bunch of we're thankful, we're happy, oh my God, y'all are the best. Oh my, y'all do all this shit that we benefit from, and y'all have been, what do you call that shit? Not humble. What's that shit? Not courteous. Chivalrous. And what you do all this shit and you still have chivalry too? Oh my God. Like, y'all should be thankful. Like, men are even nicer than, we've probably been the nicest that we've ever been, and we're the most productive that we've ever been. But somehow we ain't shit. Like, come on, man. It's dumb.
The truth. Basically, football.
What's wrong with that?
Football is
They're great at football.
But football, but of all the things, in the world, but my point is, of all the things, I ask you to think about your brothers and your sons and these kind of things in the future. Of all the things that men are, we are more than football, cutting hair. I mean, there's a lot, and the thing is, leading. All right, leading, but leading who? Most women today don't even want to be led by a man because it's oppressive.
You said that don't have nothing to do with it.
Well, that's the point, because you're talking about leading. Men don't have any problem with leadership. We have a hierarchy. This is why in the military there's very little. I'm not gonna say very little issue. Men sort ourselves into orders and hierarchies very well. I want you guys. Here's an assignment. There's a show on Amazon Prime called Bear Grylls, Grylls, show they call The Island. He takes a group of men and a group of women, sets them on deserted islands for 6 weeks with bare essentials, and they gotta survive. I want you to watch the difference between how men and how women without technology survive. You'll see by week 5, women were bickering, they don't want to be led, making shit by committee. By the end of week 5, men damn near created the Eiffel Tower. Because know that we have to sort ourselves, and there is order, and somebody has to lead, and it's not all about our feelings, it's about getting stuff done. And we have forgotten, and women today, I think it's fair to say women have forgotten what men are, what make us great, other than the fact of what we can do for you. It's not an indictment to you. It's the fact that we have issues in this world, and my point is, it doesn't get better until women start becoming aware of what's going on, how you were raised, how you were taught. All you guys are under 30. You didn't come to a lot of this stuff on your own. A lot of this stuff was taught, the media, the school, the culture. But now at least you're aware of it. And if you want to have anything different with a man in your life, you're going to have to become more aware of what the kind of men you want, because men are basically very simple. You know, men in general, they want cooperation. There's a whole thing, sex sandwich silence, but cooperation is really what men want.
Do you feel like it's
like you said, cooperation, not to be hoes, not to be too big. What was another one I had? To be classy. We are pretty simple.
cooperation? Because I understand cooperation, because even when you're like, you have two people, or let's just say it's not like a relationship, when you're doing anything and there's more than one person, you need to cooperate to get whatever done, right?
Mm-hmm.
So where does it come into where like men feel like they don't know how to cooperate, they know how to tell you what the fuck to do? So it's not.
So the problem with this is just like, she basically just don't want to ever be held accountable, don't want to listen. And people will be like, how can you get that conclusion? Because for some reason, all of a sudden, because we're looking at beautiful women here, they're not dealing with bums. They're going to be dealing with some type of man with a sophistication, status, of value. So in his life, he's managed to be cooperative in so many different aspects, but all of a sudden, he don't know how to be cooperative with something that he probably might care the most about, because you're his woman and you may produce his children. All of a sudden, he don't know how to be cooperative with you, and he just want to just shut you up and tell you to leave. It's just irrational, because if a person's truly uncooperative or don't know how to be cooperative, essentially, they're going to be like that at their job. They're going to be like that with their friends. They're going to be like that with their family. They're going to be like that in many aspects of their life. Like, it's just not going to be only with their relationships. So that's just being disingenuous and not just wanting to listen to your man, because your man is successful in so many different things, and all of a sudden you want to question him. Why? You wouldn't have picked him if he was questionable, or you shouldn't have picked him if he had questionable character that you or a questionable character you couldn't trust. But assuming you know how to pick real men and good men, you shouldn't be all of a sudden just questioning him and thinking that his version of wanting to have cooperation is just being a tyrant leader. Like, stop it. But let me see what Kevin has
Not
to
so
say.
much a cooperation anymore. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like,
Well, first of all, again, these are the men you pick.
oh, yeah, I know. When I say that it's circumstantial,
Well,
I'm
these are the
always
men.
basing it off, like, my experience.
These are the men you pick. So that's number one. Number two, like it or not, if you and a man have a child, little junior, your instincts may be to go left. His are going to be to go right. You can't pull DNA rank on him. Who and you're which direction do you go? Who do you listen to? The mother or the father? Because you can't do both. A decision has to be made.
So you're asking me if the kid, who does the kid listen to?
No, you're the mother. He's the father. A decision has to be made about the child. You say left, he says right. You can't do both. Which direction?
More often than not, in this society, it's going to be what the woman says. But that's been it, man. This was a good, entertaining video. Hopefully, women can see the some of their ways and how it's been unproductive in relationships, and maybe change some things up. But who knows, man? We'll see as time progresses. I don't really got much to add to that, man. Thank y'all for watching and subscribing. Peace.